everybody. Thanks for coming to our cooking show. I know we wanted to do this in person for the Wellness Center, but with COVID, we decided that we would continue on with our series of cooking classes, but this time do it virtually. And I've roped in my daughter Ellie to help, and behind the camera is my son Eric. And today I am really excited because we're going to be using the Instapots again. And today we're going to be making a whole chicken dinner. We're going to be making a whole chicken, and then we're also going to be making mashed potatoes, and we're going to use the drippings, and we're going to make a gravy. Now I know you're probably thinking it's 92 degrees outside. Why on earth are we making a whole chicken dinner? But from this chicken dinner, we are in the next video going to be taking that chicken, and we're going to be using that chicken for 3 different recipes that are more summery. So this recipe will be awesome throughout the year, not only just in the winter, but also you'll be able to use it for summer. And of course, we're all busy, right?
Yes, for sure.
And so the recipes that I've planned using the whole chicken are items that you can either meal prep ahead of time, bring to work, or freeze. So that's really good for college students like you. Now, Ellie, you've got an Instapot, right?
I do.
How much do you use it? Honestly?
Like 2 times.
You know why? Because they're so intimidating. It's this pot, and it's got all of these buttons on it, and you don't know what buttons to use, and you surely don't know what time to set it for,
Yes.
right? So I'm just going to give you a brief overview because I think that Stacy had a class before and probably went through all of the buttons, but I'm just going to go through them real quick in case you missed that class. So I'll be real honest, I don't use a lot of the buttons. Come on over here, Ellie, so you can see what I'm talking about. So you see these buttons? I frankly don't use those. What I do use is slow cook. I use saute a ton. And then we're also going to use the pressure cooker button here. And I do love making yogurt in the Instapot. So maybe that's a future class. But today we're going to be using the pressure cooker and we're going to be using saute. So we'll be able to see both of those. This is the inner liner. You can see that there's some measuring lines on here. This is the top line that you do not want to go over that line. And even for some like rice or beans where there's a little bit of foam or froth, only go to the half mark. You know, sometimes in the commercials it shows just this huge pot that's overflowing, but you know what? That's just for the commercials. This trivet comes in most of them, and there's a lot of different brands. I just happen to have Instapots, but I love this trivet because it's got the handles on it. Some don't, some are just flat, but either way works perfect. I also bought on Amazon 3 more rings, a black one, a green one, and another white one. This is the sealing ring. It goes right in here. These are interchangeable. They come out. But if you're making something that's really spicy, maybe you want to save that particular ring for the spicy ones, because if you make yogurt with a spicy one, guess what your yogurt will taste like? Spicy, right? So I always keep this ring for my yogurt, and they just are simple. They just pull right out. You can put this in your upper rack of your dishwasher and clean it. Just make sure before you use your Instapot each time you've got that sealing ring in tight, or it won't come up to pressure. Okay, so this is a good deal. Like, I think I got 3 rings for $9. This top lid actually can go in your dishwasher too.
Oh.
Yeah, so just remove this, because sometimes that piece gets filled with foam, especially when we do our mashed potatoes today, that might get filled with foam. And then take off your sealing button. On the top is the sealing button. You can see it says sealing and open. When you're bringing this up to pressure, you're always going to move it to sealing. We'll talk about a natural release, an intermittent release, and a quick release when we get done. Okay? Do you have any questions about this at all?
So when would you use this and when would you not?
Good question. So when we make the chicken today, the whole chicken, we're going to use the rack.
Okay.
Okay? When we make the mashed potatoes, which is actually in that other Instapot, we are not gonna use the rack. So for meats, I always use the rack.
Okay.
And for eggs, I use the rack. In fact, I love this for eggs. I actually fill up this whole thing. And maybe in the next video, we'll make some eggs for our salad. And I'll show you. But I always use this for eggs as well. The trick is you always want to have water in here. This is a moist cooking technique. So have at least a cup of water in here.
Okay.
Okay, always. You do not want to keep this dry. Good question. Anything else?
How do you decide what you're using, like saute, slow cook, or pressure?
That's a good question. So in the handout, and I'll post the handout, I've got kind of a cheat sheet. So if you want to make frozen chicken breasts, for example, what I do is I use the rack. I pour in a cup of water or chicken broth, either way. I put 4 chicken breasts in, or 2 or 1 or whatever you want, and I'll set it for 12 minutes and put the lid on, and away you go.
So you don't press any of these buttons?
Nope, just the pressure cook.
Oh, okay.
And we'll go over that too.
Okay.
Okay, when we get started. Are you ready to cook some chicken?
Yes.
Okay, so Ellie's kind of been playing around with the Mediterranean lifestyle in a sense, and so she was not so sure she wanted to stuff our chicken today, but being the good sport she is, I brought her some gloves, and I think you'll be fine. You're actually gonna love it because you'll be able to make some salads using a lot of dark greens and tomatoes and stuff later. Okay, so this is our whole chicken. I got this at Costco, but Lever's has great ones as well. You remove the giblets from it and you pat it dry inside and out. I just used paper towels, and I put it on this container, on this pan, just so that I could show everybody. But this is about a 4.5 pound chicken. You want to do about 6 minutes per pound in your Instapot. Instapots come in a 6-quart or an 8-quart, and they come with a lot of different options. Like, some don't have yogurt. If you don't want to have yogurt, if you don't want to make yogurt, don't buy one with a yogurt button.
Okay.
They're a lot cheaper. Okay, so here's our chicken. The first thing she's gonna do is, do you want to put your gloves on for the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So she's putting her gloves on. She's gonna take this spoon, and you notice we have breast side up. She's gonna take this spoon, and you're just gonna lift up between the drumsticks and use the spoon. And here, maybe I'll show you. And then we're gonna stuff it. So we're gonna put some seasonings in there. It's gonna be delicious. Okay, you're gonna take the back of the spoon and you're just gonna go in here like this. You're gonna lift up this skin and you're just gonna just open it up. All you're doing is opening it up, okay? But what you don't wanna do is rip it because, well, if you do, it's not a big deal. We'll just patch the chicken back together again.
How far back do you go?
There, perfect. Okay, so we're good with that?
Yep.
Awesome. So I've got some garlic ready to go. So you're gonna take this garlic and you're gonna shove it into
The
chicken where you've just released the skin. You're just adding some wonderful flavoring. So you might, half on each side. Now there's tricks to make to crushing garlic. How are you holding up there?
Oh gosh.
You're doing great. There's tricks to crushing garlic, but frankly, I just buy them minced in a jar in the produce section. There you are. Good job.
Okay.
Got that?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. So the next thing you're gonna do, we melted our butter, and this recipe will be online as well. So I just wanted to stir that because there you go. Dump in the spices. You can just use your same gloves because you're gonna keep massaging. So the spices, we've got salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, paprika. The recipe calls for a sprig of rosemary and a sprig of thyme. I don't always have fresh herbs on hand. In fact, more often than not, I don't, and don't go out and buy any. If you don't have any, just use a half a teaspoon of rosemary and a half a teaspoon of dried thyme, and it's perfect. Now you're gonna take your lemon and you're gonna squeeze it because we want 1 tablespoon of lemon juice in there. Yep. So this is just a juicer. There's a lot of ways you can just squeeze the lemon if you would like. I just happen to have a juicer. Perfect. And I've got a tablespoon in here somewhere. Maybe. Here we go. So you can just, yep, we'll just take this, save the skin. Yep, pour it in there, stir it up, and now what you're gonna do is you're gonna oops, got it?
Where is it going?
There you go. Good job. Pour it all together. Stir that up. Okay. Oh, I love the smell of lemon. Good job. Okay. Now you're gonna massage the chicken. So take about half of this. You can use your spoon if you want. And just, yep, you're gonna spoon it in there. You're just adding all sorts of delicious seasonings to it. Perfect. While she's doing this,
do I use all of it?
No, you're gonna use half,
okay.
And then you can just stop for a second and you can just massage the chicken. You can go inside or you can just go outside. Just massage them. Gosh, nice to be a chicken, to be massaged like that. Okay, so now you pour the rest on the outside. And you can
just
massage it. Yep. Now I want to say that this recipe comes from Becky Hutchings, a great friend and literally an Instapot expert. She comes from the extension service in Idaho at the University of Idaho. She is fantastic.
Do I do the legs?
Nope, just the breast. And she has a Facebook page called Cooking Under Pressure. I highly recommend that you check that out. Perfect. So now we are gonna put him, oh, we can't forget our lemon. You know what? You can put this lemon right into the skin. Lift it up and stick it in there as best you can. The whole half a lemon. We're gonna add more flavor if it'll fit.
I don't know if it'll fit.
Best you can. Perfect. You know, that's perfect. Okay, we're gonna put him on a trivet. Okay? And we're gonna put him right in there. So I'll move this over. Before you do this, I've got chicken broth. Remember, we always wanna add liquid. So pour the chicken broth in there. There we are. Yep, perfect. Now you can put the chicken in there. We're doing breast side up. There you are. Now let's get rid of our gloves, okay? And the garbage is right behind you there. Or you can put them on our tray. So let's put the cover on. Remember how to put the cover on?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
This way.
Nope. Try. There you go. Perfect. So the arrow lines up. It pretty much goes over here. You turn it like this. Now there's one other piece that I want to mention before we get started. This is a condenser.
Okay.
Make sure that you take this off and rinse it out, or it can get moldy in there. So that's another feature. Now, do you remember what to do with this knob?
Turn it to sealed.
Right, so I got it on sealed. Perfect. Now let's set this. Let's set this for 30 minutes because it's a little bit bigger than a 4-pound chicken, okay? So what you're gonna do is pressure cook. Awesome, it's set for 8 minutes. You can see that the pressure level is on high. If I were to press this again, it would go to low. We want it on high, so press it to high. It'll automatically go to high. Yep, and this is our timer button. So let's press this up to 30. The recipe calls for a 4-pound chicken. Perfect. And you know what? It's gonna automatically start. Okay, so we're just gonna leave it at 30 and it's gonna count down.
Okay.
Okay, so this is on its way.
Okay.
The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make mashed potatoes. You love mashed potatoes,
yes.
Right? Well, I've jump-started this whole process for us. And Eric, can you come over and show? I peeled the potatoes and I quartered them.
Okay.
And then I just covered them with water. The recipe calls for 3 pounds of potatoes. You don't have to measure, just put them in there. They don't even have to be small. They can be quite large, quartered. just cover it with a little bit of water, okay? And then the recipe calls for a bay leaf, some salt, and a little bit of garlic, just to add some flavoring. So go ahead, yep, you're gonna just dump that in there.
We might need a little.
Do you need a spoon?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, perfect. That's it. Now what we're gonna do is start this for 8 minutes. This is like the only way you should be making mashed potatoes nowadays.
Maybe. How
It's
do you
tricky.
put this on?
You did it. There you did it. Okay.
It's different than that one.
You know what? All of these are really different. Okay. So where's this one gonna go? Seal.
Okay.
8 minutes. Do you remember how to do that?
Are we pressure cooking?
Good job. There you go. That's it. One pot. Pretty easy, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So now the next step is to make gravy.
Okay.
This will take 30 minutes. You can actually do this all in one Instapot. So you can start this, and then you can, the recipe calls for the chicken, once this is done, to go into the oven under broil, just if you want the top crisper. You don't have to. You don't have to do that piece at all. But it would give your potatoes a jump start. So if you want, once this is done, put it in the oven under broil for 5 minutes and start your potatoes. When your potatoes are done, you can actually start the gravy. So it all can be done in one pot. I do want to say that I have extra, I was going to show you, I have extra liners. I bought an extra liner too. So for example, I can like make one thing and prep one thing, and then when this is done, put this one in and pop it out. Yep. So that's could be, you don't need more than, you know, more than one Instapot at all. Okay, so we are gonna move this one out of the way, and we'll take that one and move it over here. So I'm just gonna unplug this one for now and cook this one up, since we've got kind of the magic of TV. Yep, move that one on over. Perfect. Now, look at this trick. Becky taught me this, that this, in a lot of them, will go right into this. And because this is a moist cooking technique, all your water will run into here, and you don't have to wreck your cupboard. Now, once again, Becky Hutchings from University of Idaho taught me this trick too. And that is, these are really, really cheap. But try to get your finger in there, Ellie.
Yeah.
Near impossible, right? But you can just take this and clean the outside, especially if this has been in there.
Yeah.
It'll drip in. Huh. Slick, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna use the saute feature
Okay.
now. And we aren't gonna put the cover aside because we won't even need it. I'm gonna get our gravy fixins. So I took 2 cups of drippings off of the chicken that we've already prepared. So you can start this on saute. So hit saute for me. Yep. Now it automatically goes to 30 minutes, but if you wait a second, it should go to on, and then it'll switch over to hot. Once, yep, now it's heating up, and we don't want to put anything in here until it says hot.
Oh.
Okay?
Okay.
In fact, Becky's got a great recipe for making popcorn in here. She just puts some coconut oil in and her popcorn, and she has a glass lid that fits.
Huh.
So that's the only pot she uses.
Wow.
So we might have to do a class on popcorn as well,
Yeah.
right? So we've got our gravy drippings here from the chicken, and we have got our butter already measured out and our flour measured out. Now we're gonna make a roux. So when this gets hot, we're gonna put the butter in, and then we're gonna melt the butter.
Okay.
And a roux is just like a flour paste.
Okay.
And there's a couple ways that you can make the flour, or a couple levels of gravy. You can make a really dark gravy by almost cooking the heck out of this flour, or you can make a lighter gravy. We're gonna make a golden brown gravy. Okay. So once this says hot, and it does take a while, surprisingly, to get hot, we're gonna put the butter in, and then we'll put the flour in, and then we'll use our little whisk.
it up.
And whisk it up. That's right. Is there any other questions you have about the Instapot so far? Did I do such a great job that you have like no questions at all?
So with saute, you never put the top on?
Nope, you don't have to, because you're gonna be working.
Oh, so
Yep,
it's just
you never seal it, you know.
Okay.
Again, right? Good question. Yep,
And then you use would you say you use pressure cooker most often?
I do.
Okay, I was thinking
You
that
can.
for like beans and rice. You would
Yes.
use pressure cooker.
I do. I do not use these buttons here.
Yeah.
I just don't. For example, I'll tell you why. So if I do poultry, it's a standard time. And
Oh.
if I put a bigger chicken in, I want it to cook a little longer. If I
Yeah.
put, you know, a smaller chicken in. So one thing that I always have is a thermometer. This is a digital read thermometer. In fact, what did I give you one year? Or
For
one day?
Christmas.
Well, I think it was just like right before
one of
grilling
those.
season. Yeah, Eric, what did I give you?
A thermometer.
And I gave my other two kids thermometers as well. I've got one in the camper, I've got one at the lake, because this will keep us safe. So whenever you're grilling, or whenever you're in the kitchen, make sure you have this handy. It's instant read, so all you have to do is put the top in. I got it on Amazon for like 14 bucks. Not very expensive at all. And then Eric called me one day. Is it hot yet? No. Eric called me one day and said, oh my gosh, I grilled and I thought that the thermometer gift was a bit odd. However, what did you find out, Eric? By using the thermometer.
Really good. Probably some of the best I've made.
That's right, because it probably wasn't overdone, right? Yep. So anyway, definitely the thermometer. It says hot. Awesome. Dump that in. It's gonna sizzle. Good job. Okay, we're gonna let that melt. Perfect.
Almost there.
And then you're gonna dump in the gravy or the flour. I'm gonna check on this one. How's this going? It's not up to temp yet. You can dump it in slower than that, but that's okay.
Oops.
That works. Okay, and she's gonna make it pretty good. Keep going. Nicely done. You see how it's turning into a little paste and it's turning colors? Okay, dump our.
Slowly.
And you can dump this one a little faster. There you go. Okay, perfect. Now she's just gonna stir this until it gets to the proper thickness that she wants.
So it's gonna thicken up.
It'll thicken up. It'll be perfect. Like gravy, I know is really tricky. It's hard to make, but you will never mess up gravy using your Instapot or your multi-pressure cooker.
Would you have to stir this constantly?
No, you can.
I was just
you
wondering
can
if
just-
you were busy.
Oh, right. No, if you're busy, you can let it go, but make sure you come back and stir it quite often. Yeah, that's a very good question. This might take just a little while. Do you have any more questions for me?
I don't think so. How do you figure out a time? Like sometimes I want to think like, oh, could I put this in my Instapot, but I don't know, and I don't know what time to put it at or like what to even do.
Right, and so I'll send out a cheat sheet for you
Okay.
that shows, like, on one side of the sheet what the food item is, and on the other side how long to cook it for, and maybe what
Press.
what to press.
Okay.
Yep, exactly. So while that's cooking, and while this is cooking, can we shut off the video and then come back? Hi everyone, we're back, and Ellie's got the gravy done. I wanted to show this to you. The gravy is beautiful. It's nice, it's thick, it's smooth, and look at what I'm doing. I'm touching the top. It's not hot at all. So it's really a safe way of cooking as well. So we're gonna shut it off. We'll get this poured into our bowl, and then we'll wait for the potatoes. Okay, we're back. The potatoes are done. So what happened here, Ellie, is it got all the way down to 0. So it counts down from the 8 minutes. And now it says low or L1, and it's gonna keep it warm automatically. So let's say you didn't get back to it right away. That's okay. When we're gonna release this pressure now. On the chicken, we did a natural release. When we do meats, you're just gonna let it sit, and eventually the pressure will release in the pot. And Eric, I don't know if you can come here and see this. When this is up, it means that it's full pressure. So what and the lid won't even open.
Okay.
Okay. So with meats, the meat is still continuing to cook as it just naturally releases pressure. Once the pressure goes down, the lid will be able to be opened, and this will be down, and I'll show you. With vegetables, we don't want them to overcook, right? We want them to be kind of almost crisp sometimes. So we want to do a quick release. And what that means is we're just going to push this forward to open. Now, I'm going to tell you what, the potatoes, because there's a water in here, they're going to spurt.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to do something called like an intermittent release. So we're going to open it and then close it, and open it and close it, okay? Just so that we don't get a terrible mess. I'm going to use, let's see. This is my daughter's kitchen, by the way, my other daughter's. So thank you, Marty, for letting us use it. We can use a knife, you can use a wooden spoon, you can use whatever you want, and you're just gonna push this forward. Okay, did you see her face? She was like, ooh, because she knows it's gonna make a loud noise, and it's somewhat scary the first time you do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you ready?
Me?
Just don't put your hand over it, don't put your face over it. Turn it a little bit, there you go. But you can see it's just naturally releasing. This isn't too bad.
Yeah.
But you're gonna see it somewhat spurt. Now if it started to spurt a lot, you can close it again, Al. Show them how to close it. There. But we're gonna keep letting it go because it's not too bad. Okay, it's continuing to go down, down, down. Can you see this little knob here? When it gets all the way down, that knob will drop, and then you know that the pressure is out. Now, it's going to be canning season soon. I just planted a huge, huge garden. Do not can anything in this. Don't use it for a water bath canner. Don't use it for a pressure canner. It's a pressure cooker. Totally different, okay? Do not can in this. It's getting there, I promise. It's getting to be less and less. So that's the difference between natural release, quick release. Any questions on that?
I don't think so.
Natural release is usually for meats, quick release is usually for veggies. Yep. And then this, we're done with this. So if you want to, you can press cancel. There we go, and it's off. Yep, you can just about hear it, can't you? There's a lot of pressure in there. Did you see that? So now it's down, all the way down. The lid can be opened. Go ahead and open it. There you go. Now you can put it right in there, and look at all that water. It's just gonna drip right into the edge. It's nice. I have my favorite pot holders right here. They slick. And you can just reach in and pull this out. We're gonna go over to the sink and we're gonna drain our potatoes, and then we're gonna put them back into the container, okay? Okay. And you see that bay leaf? We don't wanna eat bay leaves. I scared the living daylights out of my kids with the bay leaves at one time and said, they're poisonous, don't eat them. Ouch. Okay, there we are. Now, all we have to do is go back, and Ellie, are you ready to add some great stuff?
Yes.
And we're gonna mash it on up. And you'll have a delicious meal. Okay, So first thing she's gonna do is add some butter right here. She's gonna add a little bit of salt and some more pepper. Okay? And you can start mashing if you want. And then when she's ready, she's gonna add a little bit of milk and a little bit of sour cream. And we basically have one pot here that we have to wash. How's that coming?
Okay. Maybe, what do we add next? Milk?
Either milk or I can add the sour cream for you. And keep mashing. Beautiful. There you go. And I'll get a plate and I'll dish this up. I'm going to show you the chicken that we cooked up. Remember we broiled it? It's beautiful. So I'm just going to cut that right up. Gosh, that looks lovely. Beautiful. It's a moist cooking technique. Isn't that gorgeous? Absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to put this on a plate, and I don't know which kid here gets first dibs. How's that coming?
Good, I think we are done.
Perfect. So we've got our chicken. Looks lovely. And we'll get a spoon and we'll dish out some potatoes for you. Oh, they're beautiful. Now, I didn't make a vegetable, but it sure is easy to make a vegetable as well with this. What would be pretty with this, Ellie?
Green beans, maybe?
I think so too. I think green beans would be beautiful with this. How about that? Does that look lovely? We'll pour a little in here for you too. With a beautiful green bean. You have a whole chicken dinner. You did great, Ellie. You did great. So we're gonna be back and we'll show you how to take this chicken and make it into 3 more meals that you can use either to take to work or to freeze.